Tsunade sends a squadron of 4 Genins and 1 Chunin to retrieve Sasuke Uchiha, the sole surviving Uchiha in the Leaf Village. At first glance, that doesn't seem like the best decision she's ever made, and Tsunade actually has a good track record when it comes to her Hokage decisions, so why did she do that? Why such an understaffed team to go after Sasuke, a very important asset for the village, when Tsunade knew the mission would be very difficult? Now obviously you can be boring and say, well, Kishimoto wanted to develop those 5 characters in the squadron, so he obviously sent them on the mission to fight against particular opponents, developing their characters, going through character arcs and everything. And yeah, you would be right, but this is very obvious, barely even warrants an explanation. What's more interesting to analyze is why would Tsunade do that in universe? Because there are some interesting things to take a look at here. At first glance, this looks like Tsunade's dumbest decision in her life. Losing Sasuke that day creates this massive butterfly effect that creates a lot of problems for Tsunade herself, the Leaf Village, everybody in the village as well in the future. And yeah, she couldn't have predicted many of those consequences. However, she still knew Sasuke leaving the village for Orochimaru wasn't gonna be a good thing at all. She knew Sasuke was leaving for Orochimaru because Sakura had a conversation with Sasuke before he left, and he told things to Sakura. She kind of figures it out, and Tsunade knew Orochimaru was after something as well in the village, and yeah, that's gonna be Sasuke. And obviously, after everything that happened in the Chunin exams, and after that in the Search for Tsunade arc, Tsunade wouldn't want Orochimaru to have Sasuke at all. Now, first and foremost, losing Sasuke, the last Uchiha in the village, is a heavy blow to the strength of the village itself. Yes, at that point in the story, Sasuke wouldn't make too much of a difference for the Leaf Village. He was a high-level Genin. Obviously, he was higher than that in terms of his sheer strength, but he was a Genin after all. But knowing the Uchiha clan, the fact that Sasuke was always #1 in his class, that Itachi Uchiha, one of the greatest geniuses in the Leaf Village, was his brother, and that Sasuke had awakened the Sharingan really early on, it was very obvious that Sasuke would be extremely powerful in the future. He wasn't such an early bloomer like Kakashi or Itachi or Minato, but he certainly had a lot of potential, and losing all that strength to someone like Orochimaru is just unacceptable. Furthermore, Tsunade knew about the Orochimaru changing bodies thing, and she knew he would be after Sasuke's body, the Uchiha vessel. Perfect one for Orochimaru to become the strongest ninja in the universe. I mean, at least that's his goal, and obviously Tsunade wouldn't want that to happen. So Sasuke leaving the village for Orochimaru, regardless if he did it willingly or not, is a terrible thing that Tsunade should have avoided. And even when you don't take into account the strength aspect of things, there's also this honor aspect as well, because everyone in the village believes that the Uchiha clan was massacred by one of their own and they were absolute victims after the fact. This is what Itachi intended. Nobody knew that the Uchiha clan was planning a coup and everything, only the elders at that point. Even Tsunade didn't know that, and so Itachi massacring his own clan is seen like a terrible blunder the Leaf Village let happen. So protecting the only Uchiha left in the village is a matter of honor essentially to the village. The Uchiha clan founded the village with a Senju, and losing their last Uchiha is a big blow to the village's morale. Not just for the ninjas in the village that may be disturbed with the loss of the Uchiha, but also by clients. People that hire ninjas are gonna be like, well, you don't have the Uchihas anymore, they were pretty powerful, what did you do with them? You let them all go. And your last one was here, he fought in the Chunin exams, I wanted to hire him for a mission, but now I can't because you lost him. You can see that there's a decline in prestige for the village itself, and that's not good for the shinobi business. Now yeah, the Leaf Village holds a monopoly of shinobi business in the Land of Fire, but many people from other countries hire the ninja services of the Leaf Village. Take a look at Tazna from the Land of Waves, for example. And that's just one example. Many of the missions shinobis get in the Leaf Village, they're not going to be done to somebody in the Land of Fire. It's people from abroad, people that pay a lot of money for very powerful ninjas from one of the strongest villages in the world. All this is to say that Tsunade should not have lost Sasuke that day, and she should have put more effort into his retrieval team. But why didn't she? It is established early in the arc that the Leaf Village is extremely swamped with missions. They are far more overloaded than usual, and they don't have ninjas to spare. And the reason for that is actually pretty reasonable. After the Chunin exams and Orochimaru's invasion, the loss of a Hokage, the Leaf Village was seen as weak. They were attacked, yes, they beat their attacker, but several ninjas died, including Hiruzen. The village was heavily damaged, and you would lose a lot of confidence from your possible clients when such a thing happens. If the village can't protect itself, how can they do my missions, man? What the hell? So as the new Hokage, Tsunade has to make sure the Leaf Village will regain its reputation so that it can maintain its economy and its ninjas going and everything, and so she has to accept as many missions as possible, much more than they usually would, and assign missions with more urgency as well, to ensure everyone we're doing fine, we can take your missions, the village is recovered, and there's also the monetary aspect of taking more missions. After a very rough patch with Orochimaru there, the village has sustained damage, you need to repair things, you need more money, so getting more missions will give the village itself more money. We don't know if the village taxes the ninjas, 30%, 20% of what they gain for each mission. That's a pretty interesting video to analyze things, but for the future, I guess. But it's obvious that if more ninjas are taking more missions, the village is going to make more money. If nothing else, and I believe there's a tax, the ninjas are going to be spending their money in the Leaf Village and stimulating its economy. So when Tsunade learns that Sasuke left the village, she immediately calls for Shikamaru to be the leader of the squadron. And Shikamaru requests a 4-man cell made up of only Jonins and Chunins, which Tsunade promptly denies, saying that, yeah, we're swamps, we can't do that. We only have the essential shinobi in the village here. Most Jonins are away doing missions, including Asuma, Kakashi, even Shikamaru's own dad. And though Shikamaru is kinda doubtful, but he thinks, well, if it's only Sasuke, I guess it's gonna be easy, like, it's gonna be one dude that we have to take care of. But then Tsunade warns Shikamaru that Sasuke may be accompanied by some of Orochimaru's henchmen, and yes, she was correct. She didn't know who was with Sasuke, she didn't know if Sasuke was by himself, because they never saw the Sound 4 entering the Leaf Village, but her guess there was right, which this is kind of weird, right? During the Pain arc, we see that there is a massive barrier around the Leaf Village that is up 24/7 so that the ninjas in the village can see if there is any invaders coming in. So Pain uses this diversion tactic to make sure they don't know the exact numbers that they're entering the village. And then he says, yeah, Itachi entered the village back in the day, but that's because Itachi was a Namba member and you had to bypass the barrier without awakening it. But then the entire Sound 4 entered the village. And I guess you could say, well, Orochimaru used to be a powerful leaf ninja and he would know the secrets and stuff. So I guess Orochimaru gave the Sound 4 the key to enter the barrier without being noticed? That's the only reasonable explanation. But anyway, the problem here is that Tsunade didn't know how many people were with Sasuke. Imagine if Sasuke had 14 people escorting him back. That would have been too much for a 5-man squadron to handle, especially one made out of kids. And the thing is, Tsunade doesn't even assign specific people to Shikamaru. She says, gather up everyone you can find in 30 minutes and go. So what if Shikamaru could only get like 2 people? That would be pretty bad. Yes, she recommends Naruto because she believes in Naruto and she knows Naruto is pretty strong for a Genin. So the first person Shikamaru grabs is Naruto, then he gets Choji, Kiba, and then Neji. But that's it, right? Imagine if he only got Naruto and Kiba. That would be pretty bad. They wouldn't be able to fight against the Sound 4 like that. And as a matter of fact, they weren't even able to do so with 5 people in the squadron because Rock Lee and the Sand siblings had to go and save several of the squadron's members when they were about to die. But alright, the Leaf Village was out of ninjas. There wasn't much Tsunade could do. Obviously, you have to maintain a particular amount of ninjas as a garrison in the village for any emergencies. But Sasuke leaving for Orochimaru is a bigger deal than a regular mission. This is not something a client is requesting. This is a matter of security for the village, and a big one. Izumo and Kotetsu, for example, were carrying paperwork for Tsunade, and they didn't seem to be doing a lot. Sure, they're not the strongest guys in the verse, but they're 2 Chunin. Why don't they go as well, for example? Surely you can spare a few more ninjas. Maybe you hold on a few missions here and there, send 1 Jonin with them at least, or a couple more Chunins. I mean, Tsunade wouldn't die if Izumo and Kotetsu didn't carry her papers for a day. Shikamaru's dad was in the village as well. He was going to leave later in the day for his mission, and he's a Jonin. Belay his mission or just cancel it entirely. Make him go with a squadron to save Sasuke. Tsunade explains to Genma and Raido that, well, yeah, after you fought and lost against the Sound 4, it's gonna be tough for the Genins to beat them. And then she explains further why she's not sending more ninjas to help out, because the Jonin and Chunin are abroad taking care of issues, making sure conflict doesn't happen. And she says that the Leaf Village lost its mandate as the principal territory in the Land of Fire, which is kind of vague. We don't know exactly what that means. Maybe that the Leaf Village is no longer carrying so much political power as it used to, which is essentially the same explanation she's given before, but like, spare a few more ninjas to go after Sasuke. She says avoiding war now with other nations is much more important than keeping the Sharingan away from Orochimaru. But is it really, Tsunade? Sure, we know Orochimaru didn't have his arms, which is a very good thing for the Leaf Village, because imagine if Orochimaru gets a Sharingan body with the Edo Tensei Jutsu. Just remember what Kabuto did in the War arc. It's safe to assume assume that Orochimaru could develop the Edo Tensei Jutsu further like Kabuto did, and he kinda does that because in the War Arc, he brings the 4 first Hokage back with their full power. So imagine if that dude had arms and the Sharingan, the Uchiha DNA and everything. Sure, a war against another major nation would be pretty terrible, but the Sand Village and the Land of Wind by default had given up and surrendered to the Leaf Village after the failed attack, so war wouldn't really come from them. So was Tsunade afraid of the Land of Water, or Lightning, or Earth? I mean, maybe, but it appears she was much more concerned with the smaller villages around the Land of Fire, and those villages, if they declare war on the Leaf Village, wouldn't be much of a threat, let's be real, unless pain is involved in the Rain Village and everything. And yes, obviously avoiding war is important. Tsunade wouldn't want that to happen. Nobody would really want that to happen. Other nations are always looking for an advantage they can gain when somebody else is weakened, which was Leaf Village's stake there. But then again, she sent 5 children, not even a single adult. And yes, Shikamaru was a Chunin, but still a very fresh one. My guy, for example, he returns to the Leaf Village from a mission, and he's like, oh my god, did Rock Lee's surgery succeed? Because he was very tense about that, and it did succeed. And then they realize, oh god, Rock Lee disappeared. Where could he have gone to? And obviously, they kind of knew already. Yeah, he went to help out his friends with the Sasuke Retrieval thing. But the thing is, Rock Lee managed to catch up to them, right? Wouldn't my guy, the strongest ninja in the Leaf Village, the fastest ninja in the village as well, be able to catch up with them too, very quickly? Guy was just wandering at the hospital there, doing nothing, just worrying about Lee because he took his sake with him, and Rock Lee's gonna get drunk because he thinks the sake is his medicine, and things could get out of control, so guy's like, oh my god, drunk Fist Lee is crazy. Oh god, what should I do, Tsunade? I mean, she doesn't tell him to do anything, but Guy could just go and help. I mean, Guy could obviously easily solo the Sound 5, Kimimaro included in that equation, and maybe you could say he was tired from the mission he just arrived from, but really? My guy? The guy that can open the 7th gate several times in a single day in the work and still open the 8th gate at the end of it? He wouldn't even need the 7th gate to take care of the Sound 5, so why doesn't he just go and help? He has a very personal stake now because Rock Lee literally went there pretty much crippled still because he was just fresh out of surgery and he was fighting against Kimimaro, the strongest guy in the team, and obviously, I mean, Guy didn't know that, but he was very worried about Lee and everything that could happen, especially because he took the sake. And then you may say, well, but man, it was too late for Guy to catch up. Rock Lee left way before him, but no, because when Kakashi arrived to the Leaf Village from another mission, Tsunade's like, yeah, there you go, another mission, Kakashi, and she kind of tells Kakashi what happened and everything. Kakashi finds out, Sasuke left the village, and obviously, Sasuke being Kakashi's pupil, he has to go after him. Tsunade's like, no, you have to do the mission. Kakashi's like, screw it, no, I'm gonna go after him, what the hell? So he uses the dogs to track Sasuke's scent, and he goes after him, and that's very late during the Sasuke Retrieval mission already. Naruto and Sasuke are already fighting. Kakashi's sensing their chakra, and weird things are going on there, and he almost manages to catch up to Sasuke, but Sasuke leaves. The rain stops Kakashi from smelling Sasuke and tracking his scent. But if Kakashi had left 5 minutes earlier, he would probably catch Sasuke. And I mean, if I am the Hokage myself, and the only Uchiha is leaving the village, and nobody else can do the mission, why doesn't Tsunade just go? Like, she could do it herself! I know it's not protocol to go yourself on missions when you're Hokage, you're like the protector of the village, but Kages leave their villages once in a while, for the Kage Summit, for example, and for special occasions. Isn't this a special occasion? I don't know. The village was Hokage-less for more than a month after Hiruzen's death. They could handle another day. That'd be a bit far-fetched though, right? Hokage leaving for a Genin. I don't know. Sasuke is special for the village. She could do it, but obviously Tsunade wasn't clueless. She did something to help. After she finds out how strong Sasuke's escort is, after they fight Raido and Genma, and they say, oh, we were out of chakra, just out of a mission, and so on and so forth. But still, they were special Jonin's and Genma's bait. He can stop a kunai with his toothpick. She's obviously worried that the 5-man squad she sent was not gonna take care of the mission because the foes they're facing are gonna be powerful. So, she requests reinforcements from the Sand Village, and the reinforcements go to the aid of the Leaf. I mean, when Gaara, Conqueror, and Temari arrive there, it's an extreme hype moment in the series, and thankfully Tsunade did that, because otherwise, Rock Lee, Kiba, and Shikamaru would have died. But it begs the question, when you see where the final valley is, which is around the location they were going towards in the Sasuke Retrieval mission, the Sand Village is really far away. Much further away than the Leaf Village from that location, so how'd they get there so fast? I don't know, maybe they were closer. Maybe the Sand Sibling siblings were on a mission in a country nearby, and they received a falcon from the Leaf Village. Oh, can you help us out here? Now the Sand has surrendered to the Leaf Village, we are kind of allies, so do this one for us, alright? So yeah, at least Tsunade did that much, sending some reinforcements, otherwise it would have been catastrophic. And she sent reinforcements from another village, a village that had more shinobi to spare than the Leaf. So maybe the Leaf situation there was actually pretty dire in terms of numbers, and they had like 20 ninjas manning the entire village or something, and that's why Tsunade wouldn't be able to spare a single one of them. What about the Anbu though? Was the Anbu going on missions as well? I mean, Tsunade's own guard, Genma, Raido, and Iwashi were on a mission outside of the village, so I guess the Anbu, the entire platoon, could also be away from the village at that moment. Maybe only a couple of Anbus in the village itself. But everything probably boils down to Tsunade's inexperience as the Hokage, and possibly her lack of foresight regarding Sasuke and Orochimaru and everything that could happen if Sasuke was to leave the village for him. That was like her first week as the Hokage, and she was pretty overwhelmed during the entire thing. She was sleeping in her office when Izumo and Kotetsu arrived with the news that Sasuke had fled the village. So she was overworked, she was kinda just getting used to being a Hokage, and her main priority was to secure the immediate safety of the village and make sure a war wouldn't break out. So she didn't do everything she could have to retrieve Sasuke there. And even still, she still sent the 3 Sand Ninjas to go and help. And maybe one of the reasons why she didn't try harder was because Sasuke left willingly, meaning that Sasuke's loyalty to the Leaf Village was questionable at best at that moment. And maybe Tsunade would have put more effort into bringing him back if he was kidnapped. But still, I mean, the Sasuke Retrieval Arc is the best arc in the Naruto series, and my personal favorite as well. It may sound like I am complaining about Tsunade's actions here, but they are very justifiable. And obviously they had to happen like that so the story could happen, and I'm so glad the story happened the way it did in the Sasuke Retrieval Arc. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and ring those notifications. Also, watch the video showing up on your screen right now. Do all those things, they really help me out. And thank you so much for watching.